Welcome back. You watch Morning Live. Thank you for choosing to stay with us. Managing Emotions for Financial Freedom, The Invisible Forces Driving Your Money Habits is probably the book that is needed during this period that we suffer from serious money issues. Author and human behavior specialist Mavis Ureke discusses emotional action steps to raise one's level of awareness so as to manage emotions driving money habits in her new book. She joins me in the studio. Mavis, this connection between our emotions and money, I guarantee you that there's a lot of people that don't even see that connection or even talk about that connection.
That is true, because we're not taught about our emotions first, and money is not something that we talk about as we grow up. So that, that invisible behind the scenes, influence on how we manage our money is something that we don't actually talk about and we don't connect with it. So there's little awareness on how our emotions actually impact our bank balances.
Mavis, we're uncomfortable talking about money. We're uncomfortable as spouses to talk about money. There are couples that can't even mention the word money, and it degenerates into some kind of argument. Why are we so emotionally attached to this topic? Or why do we feel so emotionally inferior when it comes to talking about the subject of money?
I think it's the issue of back again to the issue of that we don't actually talk about money when we're growing. Think about it. You go for dinner tonight and ask your host, what is the amount of debt you have? I trust you, you will not be invited again. Okay, so we don't talk about money because from growing up, we never talk about money. Think about it, when you're growing up as a child, did your parents ever sit you down and say, listen, child, we don't have enough money, or, this is how much I earn. So it's a secret, it's something that we don't talk about. And then I feel uncomfortable to actually talk about even in our adulthood, because we never spoke about it when we were young.
In your book, you talk about the invisible forces driving your money habits. I want to understand what some of those invisible forces are, because you said one of the things, parents don't talk to their children about money and the management of money. There are always issues. And how does it impact your life as an adult when you grow in an environment where there is this, we don't talk about money, it's rude to talk about money, it's you basically money just falls off a tree, and so children don't really see their parents work hard for it.
True. Okay, so how that impacts us as we grow old, I always say we feel about money before we can rationalize about money. So when you are young, when your mother says, I can't buy you that ice cream, you're thinking, why, mom? You don't understand why she can't buy. She doesn't explain to you that I don't have enough or I'm not earning enough. So you don't understand the whole process of money management. So you start feeling about money before you can actually rationalize about it. By the time you're old enough to earn your own money, remember the emotion is already stored. Okay, so it becomes the invisible force that drive what you actually do with your money.
But socially, it's also improper to talk about money. You can't talk about money in company. People feel uncomfortable about it.
That is the thing, and that is why we continue to fail to manage our money, because we don't talk about it. Understand that what we don't talk about is energy locked up inside. So you can't actually do anything about it until you unlock that energy and you begin to actually work with it.
Can I ask you, I want to ask this frank question.
Yeah.
Would we be comfortable with a friend that always talked about money? Let's put it on the shoe on the other foot. Forget about talking about money, but would you be comfortable listening to somebody talk about their money issues all the time?
Yes, depending on the relationship you've built over the years. So if it just comes out of nowhere, you've not actually created a platform where you are comfortable talking about it, it'll feel like, oh, she's arrogant or she's showing off. But when you create platform, a supporting circle, I call it a money quality circle, people that you sit with and you are frank, you're honest about your money issues, and you talk about money without thinking this person is bragging. I mean, it's really about, just talking about money.
I like the fact that you don't only talk about financial freedom, you talk about emotional freedom. That's the human need. But how do we get financial freedom? Because for me, it feels like a fallacy. There's so many money gurus. There's so many money experts that make you feel guilty about spending your own money. What is the actual definition in modern day society in what financial freedom should be?
For me, my definition of financial freedom is living comfortably inside your own skin, with or without money. So it's not the amount of money you have in your bank balance. It's when you do that transaction, when you spend your own money, you're comfortable with it. Why should you feel guilty for spending your own money? You are not emotionally free, so you're not financially free as well. If money triggers certain negative emotions in you, then you're not financially free.
Can we have horrible money habits? And if we have horrible money habits, what would some of it be?
Okay, so we can have dysfunctional relationship with money, and those dysfunctional habits then lead us to actually have money results that we don't want, or that always keep us stuck repeating the same results that we don't want, or you keep depressed. People get depressed, people kill themselves for money. Someone loses money and the best thing they think of is to kill themselves. That's how powerful emotions are that are connected to money. So we need to then understand these emotions, manage them, so that we are emotionally free, but also consequently financially free. How do you feel with or without money as an individual?
There's a line that you say, no one is doomed financially by biology, circumstances, or geography. I think that's one of the biggest lessons that we need to understand.
True. You see, what we think is, you often hear people say, I've been poor, I was born in poverty, so there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
So you kind of accept that, you accept the emotions of poverty, you accept the mindset of poverty, so you do nothing about it. I talk about raising the levels of awareness. So if you raise your level of awareness, despite where you are starting from, you can be financially free.
Can I ask a contentious question?
Yes.
Does the issue of money and having the ability to be financially free, or the impact of invisible forces, is that a race issue? For example, black people less comfortable talking about money as opposed to white people?
I suppose it's an issue of progression where white people have moved faster and further than us. We're moving into capitalism, we're moving into, this new world of money, moving away from the way we've always lived our lives. So we're getting to have money and it's uncomfortable to actually talk about it. It might be a race issue in terms of where we are starting. We're starting off in different points. Okay, but when we really look at managing our emotions and our thinking, it's not a race issue. Everybody's got emotions. Emotions have no color.
Okay.
So if we manage our emotions, whether we're black or white, I've seen white people suffering, financially depressed. I've seen black people suffering, financially depressed. And it's got nothing to do with color. It's got everything to do with the mindset.
How should we look at money? What is money?
For me, money is something that you use to exchange for values. So a lot of the time, people are actually not aware of what their values are. What do you want money to do for you? We talk about success, and most of us, our success is defined by media. We don't sit and individuate and say, what does success look like for me? So that when I get money, I'm actually channeling my money. I focus my awareness to create the results that I want to create. So many people are creating the results that they don't want. So what do they end up with? Frustration, anger, and a lot of lack of awareness as well, because you are not fulfilled inside, because you're not meeting and you're not meeting your values. You are not serving your values with your money.
We've got these highs and lows in our lives. We gear ourselves towards festive periods. In December, we excessively spend money on things we might need, might not need, gifts we have to buy, might not have to buy. But in that December period, it's a given. January, we suffer. Everybody suffers. It starts picking up towards February. This is something that happens every year without fail. People go through the exact same process. Why don't we have the ability to rectify that?
I call it autopiloting. So we are stuck in the same pattern because we are not raising our level of awareness. So we repeat the same patterns. So it often happens as if it's automatic. It's not. Until we begin to observe what we are doing while we are doing it, we cannot change it. Sheryl Sandberg said, we cannot change what we're not aware of. But we cannot help but change when we become aware of it. So do you see your patterns during the December holidays? What are the emotions? People run themselves out throughout the year only to try and enjoy the 2 weeks in December. So we overcompensate for what we have not been doing in terms of looking after ourselves, energy-wise, emotional-wise, physical-wise, and we want to do all of that in December.
Mavis, okay, we've run out of time, but thank you very much for joining me here. It's Mavis Ureke with the Managing Emotions for Financial Freedom, the invisible forces driving your money habits. It's something you gotta get. Maybe you can do us a favor. Bring up the issue of money in your conversations and maybe email us, morninglive@sabc.co.za. My director is saying bring up the issue of money and then ask if they won't borrow you 3,000 Rand. But I don't think that's the aim of the conversation. It's just to see, let's measure just how uncomfortable the conversation gets and maybe share your experience with us. Morninglive@sabc.co.za. We're taking an ad break. You don't get anywhere.